Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we want to, first, good evening everyone. Today we want to discuss about human right, the banning of smoking in eateries, violating the right people to smoke. The ban can see as a form of mistreatment on people's right and freedom. Before we start, let's introduce ourselves first. My name is Nur Shafika binti Abdul Manaf, matric number 201959. In my opinion, I disagree with this statement. According to legislation in Malaysia, June 2020, there have discrete area to smoke, such as in workplace with a centralized air conditioning system, health education, government and cultural facilities, and indoor stadium in bank, financial institution, national development community company, national energy company, and post office smoking is prohibited only on floors with a service counter, implying that there are a smoking restrict. Smoking is permitted on floor that contain office but no service counter, provide those floors do not have centralized air condition. But place like any park, disco, nightclub or casino, smoking is not restricted. Meaning that Malaysia government does not ban 100% of smoke, but they have rules must follow by smoker. Based on News Red Time, 24 November 2020, Deputy Minister of Health Dr. Lee Boon Chye said diners can still smoke following enforcement of the smoking ban at eateries, so long as they can stay 10 feet or 3 meters away from restaurant as they bow. Okay, so what's your view, Hidayah, on this topic?
Thank you, Shafika. My name is Nur Hidayah binti Hosin with metric number 201929. I totally disagree that the banning of smoking in eateries is violating the right people to smoke and can be seen as a form of mistreatment on people's right and freedom. From my point of view, people who do not smoke and only breathe smoke from cigarette take the same amount of nicotine and toxic chemicals as people who smoke their cigarette. Smoking in public places, particularly in restaurants, can cause lung cancer, heart disease, and lung and bronchial infections. To elaborate this, nicotine from cigarettes causes two immediate effects, which are first, an increase in our heartbeat rate, and second, a rise in blood pressure. This continues to strain put on the heart. It is difficult for our heart because it has to pump harder to have enough oxygen. In the long run, smoking shows an increase in blood cholesterol. As a consequence, the risk of having a heart attack is higher. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, smoking cigarettes increases the risk of dying from all causes, not just those linked to tobacco use. On top of that, smoking also can increase the risk of getting lung cancer by 900%, which is 10 times higher than a non-smoker. How do you feel on that, Noman?
Thank you, Hadia. My name is Abdullah Al Noman. My metric number is 201655. I totally agree with you, Shafika and Hadia. I think that the restriction on smoking in restaurant does not threaten the right of people to smoke and should not be seen as form of mistreatment of the right and freedom of people because the government did not ban the smoke. They just restrict some places like restaurant. We know in restaurant many ages classes people came to eat like children or old. So people though smoke in restaurant can be harmful to them and can make a bad impression on children. According to the according to Sun Daily, families previously avoided such eateries to protect their young children from cigarette smoke exposure. As a result, parents will discourage to go for outing and teach sociality to children, and also it will be a disappearance for the restaurant business. In addition, according to the Academy of Medicine Malaysia, cigarette smoke contain 4,000 poisonous chemicals like tar, which is used to make roads, ammonia, which is used to making floor cleaning solvent, and naphthylamine, which is used to make uh, mothball that harm not only the smokers but also non-smoker around them as well. So, smoking in eateries not only harm people who smoke but also harm to the people who did not smoke, mostly the children and the senior citizen. Moreover, the government set the smoking zone for the smoker, so they have to avoid smoking happiness in those places where many classes of people came. Um, from my perspective, the banning smoking of the banning of smoking in eateries is not violating the right of people to smoke and cannot be seen as a form of mistreatment of people's rights and freedom. So, what's your opinions, guys?
Anissa, you must to unmute first.
Sorry. Hello. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, guys. First of all, my name is Nurhanisa binti Adnan, and my metric number is 203855. All right. I agree with all of you entirely, and I believe that most of people would agree that a ban on smoking at eateries would not stop smokers or get them to quit or reduce the smoking habit. It's just like the increase in cigarette price, which failed to reduce addictive smoking. Smokers continue to smoke. Secondhand smoke has serious negative health consequences. Unlike other self-indulgence behaviors like eating fast food or drinking alcohol in public, secondhand smoke is not singularly linked to the participant. I'm sure that the negative effect of smoking in public carry over into other people's life with a tangible, measurable, and sometimes permanent impact. I feel that secondhand smoke exposure is likely linked with negative outcomes on a person's health, while the exact degree of harm is debatable. A recent study published in the medical journal Circulation reviewed 13 studies from around the world and found that banning smoking in public places can reduce heart attack hospitalization by up to 36% over time, regardless of geographical location. Clearly, it's become increasingly more difficult to make a case that secondhand smoke caused no measurable injury to the breather, especially over time. How do you see the situation, Hassan?
Okay, thank you, Hanisa. So, first of all, my name is Hassan Al-Basri bin Luqman Al-Hakim, and my metric number is 200867. So, after heard all of your opinion, I also disagree that the banning of smoking in eateries is violating the right people to smoke. No doubt that smoker will complain about it, and it is true that smokers have right, and this right should not be infringed upon. However, a non-smoker's right to breathe clean air should be taken into consideration as well. When people smoke in a public area, the toxic fumes travel through the air and into the lung of others. Like Nisa has said, many non-smokers breathe in the second-hand smoke, and as a result, their health is compromised. So, non-smokers should not be subjected to this unhealthy every time a smoker chooses to light up a cigarette. So, as for me, smoking in eateries is not violating the human's right, because smoking is a personal choice. And the true right for human is to breathe with the clean air and maintain their healthy lifestyle. So, what do you think, Shavin? Shavin, can you open your mic?
All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Sharvin, and my metric number is 206 and 528. So, back to the discussion. Thank you, Hassan. In my opinion, I believe that these bans should be imposed. This is simply because we have looked on how a smoker's presence has been affecting a non-smoker, as has been mentioned by Shafika and Hidayah. And the government is not violating the rights of smoker, because the government has just implemented safety measures for smokers and also for non-smokers as well. In terms of mistreatment, I believe that this ban has nothing to do with it. Because as much as we know that smoking is harmful and dangerous for us, the Malaysian government still provides flexibility for smokers. As what Hidayah said, it is clearly evident in her speech itself, because she even mentioned that in Malaysia, you just have to be 3 meters away from places or eateries, and we don't implement 100% ban on smoking at all. And this also simply because the tobacco industry also helps the country's growth and economy. So, based on New Straits Times newspaper that was published on 31st October 2018, there was an article that spoke about on how a study conducted by University Kebangsaan Malaysia, the increase in cigarette price helped to reduce cigarette smoking. However, it did not give a huge impact on cigarette smoking, as the price of cigarettes is still affordable. So let's take a look at how smoking affects Malaysians especially. As most of us have discussed on the content in a cigarette, the impact of smoking, and the health complications, we were only looking at how smoking was affecting generally. According to the article mentioned previously, the article also discussed about on how the government had to bear RM 7.4 billion in treatment costs for smoking-related illness. According to the previous health minister, Dr. Zulkifli, he said that the government had expected to spend 7.4 billion in treatment costs for major illness caused by smoking, such as lung cancer and coronary heart problems by 2025. He also mentioned that the amount was based on estimates made by the ministry in 2017. He also said that this is due to tobacco control that was not enhanced and the prevalence of smoking that was not reduced in Malaysia. In addition, he also mentioned that due to the complication effects and high death rate, smoking has impacted the country's economy in various aspects that mainly highlights on the high cost of treating illnesses such as caused by smoking that affects productivities, as workers are often sickly. And this is a loss for the country due to premature death. Does anyone have anything to add, perhaps?
Yeah, Sharvin, thank you. I absolutely agree with you. I want to add something here. According to Pan American Health Organization 2008, secondhand smoke is the mixture of side stream smoke emitted by the burning end of a cigarette or pipe, and mainstream smoke breathed out by a smoker is contain more than 4,000 chemical compounds like tar and nicotine that make up at least 60 in identified carcinogen substance. Without a doubt, second-hand smoke is a human lung carcinogen responsible for 3,000 lung cancer deaths each year in the United States alone. Given the capacity for mutation of carcinogenic substances, even in a very small dose, it is impossible to establish any safe threshold for a dose of tobacco smoke exposure. In other words, there is a no level at which exposure is not harmful. Exposure to second-hand smoke in the workplace seriously compromise health and safety through the danger posed by cigarette caused fire. There are many other public places where people are exposed to second smoke, including at the mall, supermarket, then workplace. Government have the authority to eliminate smoking in the workplace and in other situations, and hold employers responsible for enforcement. The right to the healthy environment and to safe and healthy working conditions are essential to the protection of health of non-smoker. Secondhand smoke also infringes on the right to equal protection, as the protection from secondhand smoke is often arbitrary, determined by socio-economic and other inequities. It is right?
It is totally right, Shafika. I believe we have covered on several aspects regarding on why this ban should be imposed and why this ban is not considered as a form of mistreatment to the smokers. Throughout the discussion, we have looked on both sides of a smoker and a non-smoker. For the smoker's side, we have looked at how there will be health problems and how they will be affected. We have also talked about how and what drives them to continue to be a smoker. And we have also seen the contents in a cigarette, which leads to an understanding on why the addiction is there. And we have also discussed in details on how smoking increases the chances of having blood cholesterol that leads to heart attacks. In terms of non-smoker, I believe there was much more discussed over here in terms of how they were affected and how they seem to be the victim of circumstance for something that they did not commit. We have also looked at how second-hand smokers deserve the rights to be to a healthy environment and how they are the ones who are more prone to be facing the consequences of a smoker. We have also looked at on how they deserve clean air, and these points have been discussed repeatedly with just different explanations by each and every one of us. We can also evidentially see that despite the most of us discussing in several aspects, at the end, we all end up being relatable to each other. And this clearly highlights the main aspects on why this ban should be imposed. In a nutshell, I believe that the banning of smoking in eateries is not violating the rights of people to smoke, as it clearly affects both sides, which is the smokers and the non-smokers. With that, this ban should be imposed.
All right. Thank you guys for the discussion. That's all from us. Thank you.